Wonderful. How are you guys doing?
Good. Ed Ingram makes what type of impact, in your opinion, to this offensive line now that he's back and cleared to play?
I think it's pretty substantial. I mean, you talk to just about anything around LSU, and I'm sure you hear the same. Pretty much people say that Ed Ingram, before all this, happened, he was probably considered their best offensive lineman. So just from that perspective alone, that's obviously a major bonus. And then you add in there is a pretty substantial hole at left guard right now. I think you're actually at a point right now where, when Sadiq's in the lineup and when the rest of the lineup's all good, 4 of those people you're relatively content with, at least much more so than you were last season.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Deculus has made some improvements, in my opinion. You feel okay, but in that left guard spot, whether it's Adrian McGee or Jason Hines, it just has not been convincing through 4 games, and they haven't even played a particularly great defense yet. So I think it's even an above average starter at left guard would really be a major increase there. And if Ed Ingram's as good as they say they are, then that's a big win for this offense.
He was a freshman All-American at that guard spot 2 years ago. Is that the only place he can play on the line? Is he an option to play tackle?
Oh, definitely. I mean, so that's the thing. I think 6 months ago, if you would have asked me, what Ed Ingram's going to do when he comes back, I would have said he was your starting right tackle. And yeah, he still might, be needed at tackle for different reasons this season. But, yeah, I mean, I think he would have been the starting right tackle if Austin Deculus kind of impressed him a little bit more. And he still might. He certainly could. But I just think, in my opinion, left guard, it makes the most sense for him, at least right now.
Yeah, and then you got McGee, who can move all around, right tackle, left tackle, both guards. Talk about Jason Hines. Talking to Brody Miller, who we do a podcast together, me and Brody do. Came out yesterday, each and every Tuesday. So you hold that podcast. Catch it on 1045ESPN.com. Kind of meandering, fun bye-week episode this week. But one of the things we talked about, Brody, was a person who placed $50 on Joe Burrow to win the Heisman before his season. Go ahead and give our listeners and the people that I'm in the room with the story behind this guy that wrote into you.
Absolutely, and I also broke this down in my LSU mailbag this week on The Athletic. So basically, a guy put down a follower by the name of P-Funk put down $50 on Joe Burrow at 200-1 odds to win the Heisman back in June. And so that $50 bet, if it wins, will cash $10,000. That is some confidence right there.
10 grand.
And obviously, I mean, Joe Burrow was essentially off the board when this bet was placed. And in the past 4 weeks, he's gone from that to about 20-1, or then he's done to like 8-1, and now he's 7-2 odds. And he's second highest odds. So the sports book he's at is one of those ones that gives you the option to kind of buy out on your bet. And his value's increased so much that his book is offering $1,780 to cash out on his bet.
No
that
shot.
Right there is like 30. I know, right? And that's 30. That's like 36-1 payout for what's now a 7-2 bet. That's pretty incredible odds. What would you guys do?
Yeah, that's the question. What are you doing?
Riding
You're keeping it riding
all day because
I'll keep it riding past Utah State, then I'm out.
Oh,
then I'm out.
You're not a gambler, son.
No, I'm not. That's the point. I'm way too scared.
Yeah.
I'm already scared right now. I'm thinking about cashing out.
Push those chips into the center.
Because I don't want somebody to get their odds raised this weekend when Burrow's not playing.
Brody, I think it comes down to LSU, Alabama on the Heisman race if they stay healthy and they keep on this clip, because I think that the storyline of Hurts being from the same head coach, the same school, the same position for the 3rd straight year is going to work against him. And when you have 2 guys this good, Tua and Burrow, you keep those guys upright and healthy for that second Saturday in November. That's an NFL football game. That's Brady versus Breeze. That's Rodgers versus Mahomes. I mean, those are the best 2 natural throwers in college football.
I definitely agree with you that I think Alabama game will decide the Heisman race most likely. But, I mean, it's pretty hard to imagine Joe Burrow winning the Heisman without winning this game. And I'm not saying LSU can. I think it's going to be a competitive game and all that. But LSU right now at some of these early lines is still like an 11-point underdog in that game. And I'm not saying that should be right or any of that. But if
give me that
playing
action today.
And you're playing odds and you're playing values, I mean, that's not exactly a very high, probability situation that he wins that game. So I think at the latest you cash out right before Alabama because that's when it will probably be the highest. Also, I just want to I'm fascinated because I thought the same thing with the Jalen Hurts thing. I really did think people would be kind of tired with the Oklahoma thing, but it kind of feels like in a weird way people are almost rallying around that and finding it fun and wow, Lincoln Riley's the quarterback whisperer. it doesn't seem like there's a fatigue yet there. Plus, Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts are the two best stories this year.
Yes.
Jalen Hurts is literally the guy who didn't win the job and now might be winning a Heisman. I think people are also behind that storyline. So
his personal story. Yeah, for sure.
It can
for
bet.
sure.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen. I still think Jalen Hurts is probably my inside favorite for that award. Talking to Brody Miller of
that 10,000 boys. Don't be calling me when I'm on the beach now. 2 weeks. We should have hung around. We shouldn't have pulled our bag.
I mean, I know that the difference between. Okay, so here's the question then. What's worse for you personally, Brody? You can answer as well. The difference between getting, let's say, 2,000 or 10,000, or the difference between getting like 10,000 and zero, right? I mean, are you missing out on $8,000 in one, but you're still coming away with two, or you're just all or nothing? I mean, give me the two.
I think you can't look at it through that. So you have to look at it. What are your actual chances at getting that 10,000? Because if your chances are only like 20%, then it's just hard to be. You can't really view it through that prism. Yeah,
that's why I'm a gambler, boys. Here's my 50. I'm riding with Burrow all the way to the finish line. Give me my 10K.
Brody, what during this bye week, what are you kind of focusing on from this team? Like, what's standing out to you?
I think it has to be just what's going on with the defense. Can they address some of these tackling concerns? How healthy can they get? Ed Ojan admitted last night that they're experimenting with Christian Fulton in the nickel safety spot a little bit, and instead of Kerry Vincent, and then using a Cordell Slot at corner. And I think that's one of the storylines of these next 2 weeks. And there's no guarantee they're actually going to stick with that. They're just messing with it. But I think all the tinkering they're going to do defensively these next 2 weeks will probably tell a bigger story about what happens this season.
Defensively, this Grant Delpit story are we reading too much into Delpit through the first month that he's been lost in the shuffle as far as you're not just hearing about him?
Yeah, I've been trying to figure that out myself. I mean, the Texas game, it was like, okay, they were all exhausted. I guess everyone has their rough days. I think he missed a pretty bad one against Northwestern State, but it's probably hard to get up for Northwestern State. Now it's officially 3 games in a row of him not playing bad or anything, but just not being the Grant Delpit people expected him to be. I think we're on the verge of that actually being a real conversation. I mean, and in his defense, he's still making some plays in the backfield. He's still Grant Delpit. It's just some of those open field tackles he's put in position to have to make downfield. He's just been, or not even just downfield, but he's been flat out missing, and it's bizarre. And when I look at something like that, I don't really view him forgetting how to tackle as something that can't be fixed pretty quickly, right? If I saw him, not looking 100%, or if I saw him making big, mistakes, I would be like, oh, okay, that's a problem. But I would imagine Grant Delpit can probably fix this tackle.
One-word answers here. Overall MVP is Joe Burrow. Who's your offensive MVP through the first 4 games?
Jamar Chase.
Who's the defensive MVP?
Ooh, shoot. I don't know if there is one, but I'll say Derek Stingley.
Okay.
There you go.
Me and Brody,
Special
right?
teams.
Same thing.
Special teams? Oh, sorry. Well, Zach Von Rosenberg doesn't really get a chance, so I'll say Derek Stingley.
Yeah. Or Cade York, right?
I mean, yeah, or the freshman kicker, Cade York, Brody. Who am I to judge your answers, though? Continue.
You want to
go? I thought you were going to go down the other categories.
That was it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, check out the Hold That podcast. HTPP. Each and every week, me and Brody, Tuesday. It's awesome. It's on 1045ESPN.com. We'll tweet out the links throughout the week. I'll put it in the huddle after this.
So, Brody, no game to cover this weekend. What are you doing to buy?
I am going to be sitting in front of a TV in New Orleans from like 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. just watching football, maybe having a few bevs, and actually enjoying a college football Saturday slate for the first time in quite a while. And then I have to go to a birthday party. So that's a bit of a bummer, but overall, it's going to be a great Saturday.
Is Bev your girlfriend?
Bev is short for beverages.
Oh, okay. My bad.
At Brody A. Miller, he covers LSU football for The Athletic every Wednesday. He's here with us on OTB. Talk to you next week, man. Enjoy the day off.